Welcome to the Jimmy Daytona Show. Today I have Lindsay Monroe, the co-owner of Ground Effect Brewing in Hudson, Massachusetts. She's going to be sharing her story about how she.
This is apple juice because I don't drink in February because it's the shortest month of the year.
Oh,
so it's dry February for me. So
I learned something new about you every day.
It's the short month. I'm smarter than those January people.
Yeah, dry February might be a trendsetter in that
regard. Except Super Bowl and Valentine's Day get in the way. So I just go bar hopping and eat dessert at each place.
Cheat days.
No, I don't cheat. I just eat dessert instead.
Yes, indeed.
Instead of drinking wine and drinking your feelings, I eat them on Valentine's Day.
Nothing says I love you like some good food.
Cake, and then go to another bar and have ice cream. And then, anyways, moving on. Yes.
Yeah. Lindsay's the co-owner of Ground Effect.
No, co-founder.
Co-founder.
I don't own anything. I just what's up here, intellectual property.
Yes, the co-founder. Yes. And brains and muse behind Ground Effect Brewing in Hudson, Massachusetts. They got a lot of good, unique brews that I highly recommend. And she'll be sharing some of her stories about that. She also literally walked across the entire United States of America.
I did in 2007. November 13th, 2016. And I finished in August of 2017, and then I biked halfway back.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's quite a daring thing to do. It's quite
crazy.
I don't doubt that, I'm sure my listeners would love to hear the details, and that's one of the many reasons I decided to reach out to you. She's also the owner of, she also came across a wild stray in her travels.
Dog, not like wolf I guess part wolf because it's where they started. Yes, dog, wild stray dog.
Yes. And
to clarify what kind of animal or creature I brought with.
And then, she's also done photography, and she's a unique person, a really cool gal to be around. And welcome, Lindsay.
Hi.
So,
like I said, I promise it's not the Rona.
God bless you.
Yeah. 6 feet. Just kidding.
Yes, indeed. So, what compelled you to walk across the entire United States of America?
I lost a bet.
Oh, wow.
I'm just kidding. Well, there were people that bet that I couldn't do it after I said I was going to do it. So in a way, I won that bet because I did it. No, I've always kind of wanted to bike across. As a photographer, I've always wanted to slow down and kind of take the country in. And I said to my mother, I think I'm going to bike across America. And she said, well, you haven't ridden a bike since you were 10. So I don't know if that's just jump on it again, and just take off and go west. And I'm like, well, then I guess I'll walk. And then she's like, all right, whatever. And I Googled it and I found this book called The Walk Across America by Peter Jenkins from 1974. And I sobbed, and it was beautiful. And he took 7 years to cross because when he ran out of money, he would stop and work and stay somewhere for a season and then move on. He met his wife on his journey and everything. I met a dog. He met his wife. And I did a much shorter amount of time. And so after I read his book, I was like, I'm not gonna keep thinking about it. I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna put all my ducks in a row and do it. So I did.
Where did you start?
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Wow.
November 13th.
Awesome. I was just down in Myrtle Beach in the fall. I love swimming along the beach, and they had this really touristy thing with an aquarium and Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville NFL exhibit. Every touristy thing you can think.
Golf courses everywhere.
Yes.
Lots of golf courses.
How was Myrtle Beach, and what made you decide to, start the trek there?
Well, it was November, so I had to start in the south because I didn't want to freeze to death and right out of the gate. So I definitely wasn't going to start up north. And then I'd been there when I was a kid, but also when you look at the map, it was a little bit more inland than some of the further coasts down south. So I was like, ooh, let's go in a couple miles. So I guess I was like, that's a nice inlet there. Not Myrtle Beach. I know Myrtle Beach, and there was a nice state park. So I stayed there, and Tim, who was the brewer here, was with me. So he spent the first week kind of I'd walk, he'd pick me up at the end of the day, bring us back to the campground, drop me back off where I ended the night before. Then I'd walk and he'd pick me up until we got, I don't know, a third through the state maybe, and then he left and I was on my own. And then
what was the next stop?
Georgia,
Nice.
and then, oh God. Yeah, then Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas. I really hope I'm getting the map right now. I'm like, where you go? New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, Idaho, Oregon. That sounds right.
Well, what kind of places did you stay? Did you camp out? Did you?
Side of the road, literally, just like side of the interstate, just kind of like, oh, all right. In between this shoulder and that barbed wire fence, I'll sleep there, just put my tent up. Yeah, literally ditch off into the woods, called stealth camping behind a church, campgrounds, but I stayed in probably like not 65 different strangers' homes for most of the majority. So like I'd be taken in for a couple of days. Some people took me in for like a week at a time, and they just keep picking me up and bringing me back to their house.
Did they just meet you on the road and say, what's going on here? You stay with me a few days?
So like out there, like more down south and out west, so, up here, everything, like you walk 5 miles, you're in a new town. Like there's towns everywhere, but down there it could be 20 miles to the next town. And there's less population. Like we're all on top of each other up here. So people that were going to work, they'd see me. I'd be on the same road for, God, it could be 3 states, So people, it's like almost Route 20 out here, which goes from Boston all the way to, I believe it's Newport,
Oregon.
Yeah, Newport, Oregon. And so hypothetically, take that kind of example. So people are seeing me going to work probably 2 or 3 days in a row every day, seeing me if it's an hour commute or whatever. So after a while, they're like, okay, so clearly you're doing something, because I've seen you here like 2 days in a row, on my way to work, on my way home, the next morning on my way to work. I had some people stop and give me like gloves because they saw me so many days in a row on the road, and it was like winter, it was like 15 degrees out. But yeah, some people just like, what are you doing? And then I tell them, and then some would call the cops and tell them I was pushing a baby down the street and thought that I was like running away from home with my child in a baby stroller. But no, it was just all my shit.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but yeah, sometimes I'd go into a diner or something and meet the person sitting next to me, and they'd invite me to stay with them. I did a little bit of couch surfing, and yeah, warm showers is like a biking, like if you're cycling. And I did that on the way back with the bike. But for people that are cycling across, it's a big community where they'll give you a place to put your tent or shower, do some laundry. So those kind of things, but then campgrounds, side of the road, and strangers' homes.
Yeah, if somebody feels compelled to walk across the United States, what kind of equipment would serve them well?
So I always tell everyone, don't use a backpack. And almost everyone that I meet who starts in Boston, because I've now taken in people because about 10 people a year attempt this, maybe 15. Not everybody finishes. With all these like through hikes, it's not the Appalachian Trail, like 2,000 people a year try something like that. I don't actually know if that's the right number. I'm just throwing it out there, but it's a much higher number. So they have higher success rates. It's not easy walking cross country. It's completely different from hiking, like one of the trails. You're literally on the road with cars driving at your face, kicking dirt in your face all day. You're not out in wilderness, like kind of, it's very different. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, so tent, stroller. So what we use is like what you put the kids in and pull behind like a bike. You just use that. So it's like a kid, yeah, it's the word I'm looking for, trailer that you put on a bike. Yeah, so that, and then you put your tent, sleeping bag, I don't know, couple long pants, couple of pairs of shorts, 4 pairs of underwear. Think I had probably 6 pairs of socks, 4 sports bras, 3 t-shirts, 3 long sleeves, 1 sweatshirt, a raincoat, and then a warmer coat. And I went through 6 pairs of shoes, and then of course have a first aid kit, but I also had my camera, my computer, and all that kind of stuff on me, which, is a little nerve-wracking, but you just have to take that inside with you anytime you leave your stuff outside.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Since you've done photography, I'm sure you got a lot of good photos of your journey.
Oh yeah. That was part of the reasoning for doing it too. But and then all the food, of course, and then depending on how many miles you're going, if it's 20 miles, like how much water you have to bring. Because if you're going 3 days without possibly seeing a gas station or a human, you've got to assume about in the summer in the desert. between me and the dog, 2 gallons of water a day, because you
Wow.
got to cook food with it. You have to drink water, and then if you even need to like put some on you to cool down, but then yeah, drinking it. I mean, you got to stay hydrated. So yeah.
Wow. Tell me about some of the people you met on the way.
I mean, people was
colorful
the best,
characters?
huh?
Any colorful characters?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I was probably the most colorful character they had to meet. I think that was the biggest problem, or that was probably, you know, they were like, this person's got something, she's a little interesting. So people was the best part of the journey, you know, it was like, everyone's like, what was the best part? It's like the people, the fact that the kindness of strangers, the amount of people that took me in, just trusted me right away. The dog helped, she was pretty cute. So she broke the ice a lot. Oh, can I pet your dog? Oh, what are you? Oh, it says walking across America there. Well, explain, you know, like once she was with me, a lot more people started kind of coming up to you, and you know, she breaks the ice. She's adorable. But yeah, no, just the people. I stayed on a vineyard for 2 weeks, like working on the vineyard, serving wine, drinking a lot of the wine.
Nice. Where was this vineyard?
Altus, Arkansas. I was in the town that Athena met me.
Wow.
Which is like the only wine area in Arkansas. It's about 5 square miles. It's the wettest county in Arkansas. There's a lot of dry counties in Arkansas. So I was very happy to be in this place because I run a brewery. I like adult libations. So
that gave you transferable skills to use here at Ground Effect, I'm sure.
Well, no, because I've been bartending for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So my skills from that transferred to them wanting me around at the winery, yes.
What was your bartending career like, and what made you?
Drove me to walking across America. Because people are not great. Some people are great when they take you to their home, but for some reason, sometimes people come in and they are very, 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 very big pains in the ass as customers. Just saying. So if you're one of those people out there, be nice to your servers.
Very true.
No, so yeah, I mean, honestly, bartending for 20 years you're on your feet all day. You're dealing with people complaining consistently. You're also dealing with people that you really like, that are wonderful and make you feel like you're at home every day, and they become your friends, lifelong friends, you know, so they're in, like, you can build a community in the town that you're in. So like, there's this wonderful aspect to it, but then there's the pain in the asses and the drunks that you have to like throw out and to throw them in an Uber and get them out of your face. And so it's a lot. And and I would say that, yeah, people are kind of rude. And so that kind of just drove me to like, all right, I just need to step away and just really enjoy nature and maybe be by myself a little bit more. But then I found, like, when I was socializing with other people and meeting people, and then also being able to go off into my tent and be alone, I liked people a whole lot more again, I guess you could say.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what was the day you met Athena? How did that happen?
Well, I had been followed by a couple of other strays already, but I was like, this is like, dude, like, you're this big, like, you need to just get, and I'd like put a can of dog food down and run, because like one girl I stayed with was like, here's some dog food because some strays are gonna follow you, like there's strays everywhere down here. And she gave me like a leash. Actually, no, she hadn't given me a leash, but she gave me dog food. And so there was this like scrawny little thing, and he was like a puppy, and I was like, here you go, buddy, like someone around here is feeding you, there's that other dog over there. And I just ran because I didn't want him to follow me, because I was like, you're gonna get lost and not know how to go back. Because I had a couple dogs follow me, because a lot of people down there, it's not like they have a lot of land. So, and I'm on dirt roads some of the time. So these dogs aren't used to seeing somebody walking down the street. They're used to cars and tractors, but they're not used to like a human just randomly, because it's like miles between each house. So a dog would see me and just start following. And all of a sudden, you know, like an hour later, you'd see a car come bombing down the hill, like, Rusty, get in the car, you know, because yeah, so they would just follow me even if they had a home. But Athena, it was near the end of my day, and I was headed to this winery to stay at. I'd already contacted the woman, like, hey, you know, I'll work in the winery for a couple of days. If you need help with anything, if you give me a place to put my tent, and you know, maybe a way to get something to eat, or drive me to like a grocery store, whatever. And so she was like, yeah, sure, of course. And so I was like, all right, should be there tomorrow at 6. I'm about 2 miles, maybe 3 miles from her vineyard, on this like dirt road that doesn't even have a name. It has like a Google coordinate. And it's like, all right, this is what Google sent me. So I head up this massive dirt road hill, There's like 3 houses on it. It's like 2.5 miles long. And when I get to the top and take a left, I'm like whistling to Blackbird by the Beatles. And I started seeing a shadow and I was like, was that like just my coat, like, you know, flapping in the wind? And I keep whistling along and all of a sudden a dog just jumps on my back and I screamed because I thought it was a human. Like I didn't know what the hell jumped on my back and I was just like thrown forward. And all of a sudden I scream at the top of my lungs and this dog just kind of like runs to my left, like, why are you screaming? And just stares at me. And I was like, oh my God, it's just a dog. Okay. All right. You're not going to die. And I'm like, hi. And she was very skittish of me and just kind of stayed on the other side of the road as I walked with my stuff. And she just kept following me, but like not engaging. And like, I go to pet her and she just go back across the street. I'm like, okay, this one's not going to stick around. Car drives by. I'm like, hey, is this your dog? Like, that's stray, killing our chickens on this street. Like that, fucking shoot that dog. I'm like, great. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, all right. That clearly not that guy's, you know. And then I maybe another 3/4 mile down the road, see a house. I'm like, hi, it's your nope, not our dog. I think she kicks it around here though. I've seen her in the, you know, walking around. And I was like, okay, so this dog is wild. Because that's what the people are telling me. It's a town of 46 people. So I make it to the vineyard, and even the people on the road were like, once you hit the main road and get off this dirt road, she'll probably stop, turn around, like she knows her territory. She's always on these parts, you know. And I'm like, okay. And we get to the main road, and she just in the middle of the road. I'm like, she's clearly probably never been on this road, and she was just walking through the middle of the road. I'm like, oh my God, she's gonna get hit by a car in front of me. This is awful. And so I can finally get her to stay to like this side of the road. And then I get to the vineyard and the woman's there and I'm like, this isn't my dog. And she's like, whatever, she gets along with mine, she can stay. And I'm like, okay, cool, sweet. All right. And so I set up my tent and she had 6 other dogs and Athena wanted nothing to do with them. So she just stayed right next to me. And I'm like, okay. So I go to bed and I wake up in the morning and she's outside my tent with my boot in her mouth. Like, what are we doing now? I was like, I'm going to town to go to try some wineries. I don't know what the hell you're doing. And she followed me all around town. She followed me. She wouldn't leave within 10 feet of me from that day on. So,
wow.
Yeah.
What was the vineyard like, and what was your favorite wine from there?
Well, the dog's name is Cynthiana. And so the Cynthiana wine, Cynthiana is this Arkansas state grape. So she had like a nice dry red Cynthiana wine there that was definitely my favorite at Chateau Ozark, AUX Arc,
wow.
which is, you know, like Arkansas too, but yeah. Yeah, so Audrey is the one who owns that there and she's amazing. She's a badass woman. She has like a million accolades I could go on about, but I can't even remember because there's too many, but she's amazing. And so she's just another badass woman who started this winery within her tent, like putting the roots in the ground and growing her grapes and building her building out. It's a beautiful place, so I highly recommend it. But yeah, so I stayed with her for almost 10 days.
What kind of tasks did you do for the winery?
I scraped grapes. I served the wine to people. Like, so I did a lot of the tasting since being a bartender. That's my experience. And then I got to meet actually a lot of the customers and a couple of them took me in down the road, like in the next state. So yay, it benefited me that in that way that I got to meet people that took me in later. We pulled vines that she sold off to other parts of the country and out of the country of the Cynthiana vine. So we would like pack them in different grading levels. So we had to grade them and then bundle them up and she would ship them to other parts. Yeah, for people that wanted to grow that grape.
Wow, that's really cool. It's the first I heard of Cynthiana, but I'm always interested in like unique grapes that you don't see many other places.
And she's the largest producer of that grape in the world.
Wow, I'll have to check her out.
It's an Arkansas grape.
Yeah, maybe have her on the Jimmy Daytona show.
Yeah, you could do a call in.
Yeah, that's a really cool experience.
Yes.
So after you finished up in the vineyard, you ended up in Oklahoma?
That's after Arkansas, yes.
Yeah,
right?
What was Oklahoma like?
Flat. Well, not as flat as I wished it was. It's actually hillier. Oklahoma is big. 20-ish to 26 miles in between each town. The people though are amazing. That was one of my other favorite states with the humans. Like people are always like, what's your favorite? I'm like, Idaho, Oregon are absolutely beautiful. Utah's beautiful. And then a lot the same, but then the parts that aren't the same are amazing. But as far as like the people go, like Arkansas, Oklahoma, I don't know, it's hard, but like I had these like really amazing experience with some people that I'm still very, very, very close with in these states, you know.
Wow, that's wonderful.
I call them my Oklahoma and Oklahomies. So there's like a restaurant that I stayed at with the family for like 2 weeks and worked in the restaurant, like watched their kids sometimes. And then, you know, Athena would be kicking it at their house or kicking it at their restaurant. So I got to know the entire town because I was like waiting on people there and they were coming there to ask me questions. So they've now taken in like 3 other cross-country walkers as family. And like, if I find out someone's like riding a bike or someone messages me like, Lindsay, somebody's going through Oklahoma, they typically go by this restaurant called Destinations in Prague. You know, it's named after Prague. They call it Prague, Oklahoma. And I always buy anyone who's going through lunch or dinner. I call up and say, hey, you guys got a cross country crosser coming through. This one's on a bike. This one's on foot. Like, let me buy them dinner. And I give them my card over the phone. So if anybody out there is doing it and you're going through Oklahoma, let me know. Monroe 20 on Instagram. I'll get you a free lunch.
Good stuff. Yeah, how often are you in touch with some of the people that you met in your travels?
Often. I mean, my Oklahomies were just asking me to fly out there because one of them's moving, so they want to have a big party on her, you know, in her backyard and have me crash it because that's what, you know, I did when I originally met them. Is that I crashed there. You know, we had some parties out there in the backyard of one of their homes, and she's moving and selling the house, so they want me to fly out there ASAP to go hang. And I mean, I did one of these girls' weddings. I photographed it after she had taken me in. I offered to do it for cost. Like, if you just fly me out there, I'll photograph your wedding. So actually, before I got on the bike to ride back, I photographed their wedding, picked up the bike in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and rode back to Richmond, Virginia with Athena.
Wow.
Yeah,
well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so those are my Oklahomies, and then Oklahoma is Prague. And so the Oklahomies are right outside Oklahoma City. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, did something like the climate start pivoting at a certain point, or the terrain, or
I mean, the terrain is different even like state to state. I remember Alabama being the first like really big, it was the foothills of the Appalachians. So it's like, oh man, this is not a hill, this is a king foothill of a mountain. And there was lots of those. And I've warned other people too that are going like the same way. I'm like, okay, when you leave this place, you're gonna go down. Anything that says gap instead of like road, it's like this gap. It's basically a mountain that you're climbing up that's got like really sharp turns, and you're like stretched all the way out pushing your cart, and you're like just like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but completely stretched out. Like, I even had one guy and I'm like going up this hill and I'm just like completely stretched out like that, right? And the guy sees me and he's in a Corvette or something, and he's like, do you need
I
huh?
I think I can.
You know, so I'm literally like that, all the way stretched out. And he's like, and I'm like taking a rest. I go like my leg, like, okay, let's switch. Yep, all right, take a breather. And this guy is in his little Corvette. He's like, hey, sweetheart, do you need some help? And I look at his car, and I look at my cart's like the size of his car. You know what I mean? I'm like, he can't help. He can't put my cart and like drive it up this mountain. I'm like, you can't even fit like my backpack in that thing, you know, it's a tiny little Corvette. I was like, no, sir, you can't help me, but thank you. Because I was in the mindset of like, if I see a pickup truck and they stop, I'll be like, yep, take this cart and just leave it at the top of this mountain. And then when I get there, it'll be there and I'll just walk with it. And yeah, so, but that didn't happen. So I had to shove it all the way up there. So that kind of terrain, like these giant hills and mountains, they are killer. They crush you. But the heat was rough in some states like Idaho, or Oregon was hard because that was July, August. Arizona was getting hot, which is why I was supposed to finish in LA. Like, I was supposed to take 66 all the way. But with the dog, she was not doing well already in Arizona. And I was like, we're never going to make it like on 66 all the way through Death Valley. So we went north.
Yeah, so I've been
way less boring.
Oh, wow. What parts of Arizona?
I only went to Flagstaff and then I went north.
Yeah,
so Flagstaff's like,
yeah, it's like it's very mountainous.
It's like the first, yeah, like I could see the mountain, I feel like from New Mexico, like the New Mexico border. I was like, that's Flagstaff, that mountain right there. So I was staring at this peak for a very long time. I mean, I walked right past the petrified forest. So I went in And luckily one of the rangers, like, because it's like a 20-mile park, you know, and so he drove me around so I could check it out. And then the same distance that I would have done on just going on the freeway, I did through the park, and then got to like went a back way out. So I don't know, whatever, just so I could see the whole park. So it was awesome.
Did you get a chance to do Sedona in the Grand Canyon? I've been to both places.
Grand Canyon, I did not Sedona, because I went north when I hit.
Yeah, once you hit Flagstaff, you're like, you know what? I bet, you know.
Well, I rented a car and did a bunch of the national parks. And had to get to Salt Lake, and then
Yeah. So what was Utah like?
Oh, I mean, it's all national parks. It's beautiful. I mean, it's a lot of desert too. You know, it's a lot of high desert, but I did like Antelope Canyon, Boulder Springs, which like Lower Calf Creek Falls, Bryce Canyon, Zion, all of those. So I did a lot of hiking while I was there. So I mean, Utah is amazing.
Wonderful. And then on to Idaho, and then on to Oregon.
Yep.
For the grand finale.
Yep.
What's up with those two states?
Well, Idaho is beautiful. Idaho, and they don't want anyone to know because they like having their one area code and their lower population. They want to keep people out, and I get it, but I totally want to buy land there. But I feel like I earned it because I walked all the way through it and met all the wonderful people. Oregon is great. Half of it is high desert, which I think a lot of people think it's just green, but literally 50% of it is like mountainous desert. And so you can actually see on the map like where it's brown and then it's green. And you can actually see it when you're walking. I was like, finally, the green part of Oregon. Like it's almost like you cross like a line, like the ocean and the sand. It's just like, all right, cool. I'm in the green part now. So there's going to be shade. So. Yeah. So
how is Athena holding up through this?
Better than me. She pulled my ass up hills. She was a puppy. She was 7, 8 months old when she met me. So she had all the energy in the world. And I always made sure she was fed and had water and stuff. So the worst part for her was like in Oklahoma, there's these little like sandburs and like, what do they call them? Goat heads. Yeah. And they like sharp, barbed like things that would get stuck in her paws. So there was days where I was like carrying her, and then she learned how to sit on top of my cart and get pushed, and then she became a little lazy. She would do it when she didn't need it, but she would just hop right up. I was like, maybe you shouldn't have taught her how to do that. Hindsight's my superpower though.
What breed of breeds is she?
She's Doberman Hound, Plot Hound.
Oh wow. Yeah, so like when it came to like the final, I don't know, 15, 20 miles or so, what were you feeling?
It's weird because it's like just another day, because like every day you're walking 15 to 20 miles. So it's not like the Boston Marathon. It's like, I started here, whatever, 6 hours ago or 3 hours ago, and now I'm finished. It's like every day you're doing this. Every day was different. It wasn't like something that you're familiar with or that you're like even know what it's gonna look like when you get there. No idea. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, I guess like the anticlimactic, which I warn people, because it's amazing and it's like invigorating, but it's just another day for like the beginning of it, and you're like still experiencing like the new surroundings, but the feeling of it being over, I think, is scary. So that I think I hit like depression about 100 miles before because I didn't want it to end. So I was like scared to get to the finish line. So I think that was where like a lot of the anticlimactic part comes, is because you actually don't want it to be over. So you kind of like pretend like it's not happening. And then when it happens, like, yeah, there's a lot of excitement. I mean, I was pumped, adrenaline's flowing, but yeah, the next morning I felt like this black hole in my stomach of like, what the hell? Like, what am I gonna do now? And I can't be done yet. And then I rode a bike back. And
so what was the town that in Oregon? Did you like
Lincoln City.
Did you end up going on a beach or?
Yeah, Lincoln City.
End up like, just taking a swim just to say you declare victory or something?
I jumped in and then I grabbed the dog because she's never seen the ocean. So she ran the other direction. Like she took off. There's video of it. Terrible video. It's a little shaky. I just took off running on the person taking the video. So it was a little, Yeah. Sorry about that, Nancy, but thank you for it. Yeah, no, I jumped in. It was cold. I had a couple beers before because I was warned that it was going to be cold. So I just needed to get
liquid courage.
Yeah, absolutely. And jumped in, grabbed the dog, made her come up for a couple, good photos. They're all on my Instagram. And then, then I just went and had like a really big meal and margaritas and went and slept in my tent. Took a shower. No, probably didn't take a shower.
I guess going in the ocean constituted taking a shower.
For that 9 months, absolutely. That's like a great shower. So I probably didn't shower. It's just probably true. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was August.
So what was the bike ride back like, and what kind of bike did you use? How'd you come across this bike?
It was sponsored to me by Pedigo Electric Bike Company. Thanks, Pedigo. So when I was in Myrtle Beach, I was out to dinner 2 nights before I started the walk, and these 2 guys next to me were like, "Oh, you sound like you're from, up north, like, the accent." And I was like, "Yeah, Massachusetts. Well, what brings you down here in November?" And I was like, "Well, I'm walking across America in 2 days." And the guy next to him was like, "Well, I own an electric bike company. You should just take one of those." And I was like, "Where were you when I started planning this?" Like, why am I meeting you the 2 days before I start this journey? And he's like, "Well, why don't you come over tomorrow and play with the bikes? Like, see, yeah, I'm sure I get the company to sponsor you." And I was like, "No, really, where were you? Like when I thought about taking this trip? Because this would be so much faster." And like, I was scared to go. Like, I'm like, what am I getting myself into? What the hell is wrong? And like, this seems like a much more practical solution, And then the next day I played, and they were so much fun on these bikes. And he's like, "So you're gonna do it?" And I was like, "No." He's what? Because I said I was walking, and also like I had cards that had my podcast on it and everything, and I was like, "It doesn't say Lindsay Electric Bike Assist across America. It's just Lindsay walks." So I have to walk because the business cards are printed in the website. So as tempting as it was. So I got to Oregon, and so Pedigo is a franchise. Yeah, that's what I want to use. And I get to Oregon, and I'm in Bend, and I see like that van, that's a Pedigo van. And so I go and I have someone take a picture of me in front of it, and I send it to the guy from Myrtle Beach, like, "Hey, look what I found." And he's like, "Oh, maybe we can get you to bike back." And I was like, "Hey, don't threaten me with a good time." And then he posts on Facebook a picture of me at his place and a picture of me in Oregon. And he's like, "Hey, yeah, I wonder if she'll bike back." And I wrote on Facebook, like, "Call corporate." And so the next thing you know, I'm being sponsored to bike halfway back across the country with the dog in tow. So she was in a little dog trailer. No, she's in a dog trailer. So the same type of trailer that I use for all my stuff to like push it. This one was a little smaller that they they sponsored me with, so that because I didn't need as much stuff on the bike because you get further distances every day.
Yeah.
Like I could get up to 75 miles, but walking here 34, 35 is the most I did in one day. So, I could get somewhere every day, like that had electricity, water, bathroom usually on the bike every day. So I didn't have to worry about that.
So it seemed like a little easier, a little more efficient.
It was so easy. Plus it was a battery. It wasn't like I was, I had help. I mean, I had to have help. I would not have been able to go to bike what I biked with Athena in tow and all of our stuff. It was like, she weighed 50 pounds at that point.
Oh man.
Yeah, and the bike is heavier because of the battery and the type, because it's electric. So and it's not like I was some avid cyclist at all. Like my mother said, you haven't ridden a bike since you were 10.
So what was the nature like when you started out? Like what
it was winter.
Oh wow.
It was November, and then it was December, and it was January. So there was a lot of dead stuff. It wasn't all that. I was like, this would probably be really pretty in like the spring and stuff. But then I also said to myself, do you really want to be in South Carolina in like June and July when it's muggy and disgusting and there's mosquitoes everywhere? Nope. So I picked the seasons correctly.
So what state did you go to on the bike ride?
Started in Tulsa. My geography is terrible. So Oklahoma, did I go right? Yeah, Arkansas. So I went back to the winery. But then when I left there, I went up through Tennessee, came down through Chattanooga went through Georgia into South Carolina. And then
came back
went through Aiken the same way that I walked into Georgia. So went that way and then went to Myrtle Beach again to see that guy. Yep, the guy who got me sponsored. Stayed with them for a couple of days. So every time I stopped on the in towns that had a Pedigo company, I'd stop. They'd take me in. The people that own that store would take me in, and I'd hang out for a couple of days, and then I bye on to the next store, the next state, you know. And then I finished in Richmond, Virginia, because it was also November. So I finished exactly a year later than the day that I started. And yeah.
Yeah, a good day to close the circle. You know.
Well, yeah, I picked it. Like, I mean, I picked it just like I picked my finish time because there was a total eclipse that hit Lincoln City, Oregon in 2017, like 2 or 3 days after I finished. So I planned, like I delayed my finishing so that I could be there because like you couldn't get a Motel 6 for less than like $1,000 a night because of this eclipse. I had no idea. It was like people just started telling me about it the closer it got to it. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll end my journey in Lincoln City, Oregon, because it's going to be a 2.5 minute complete total eclipse. And it was amazing. So cool to see it like that. I have some great photos of it. And so that was like worth delaying everything and just being there for that. And then, yeah, so I was able to slow down and plan things. And then I wanted to finish the same. I was like, well, I'm going to finish the same day that I started. The math all works out. So.
You said you did some wedding photography in your travels. How long have you been doing that? And what have been some of your wedding experiences for good and ill?
I mean, so after my undergrad, I went to New England School of Photography in Boston, and then I moved to Vegas like a week after I graduated. And so I worked for a large company out there that did most of the casinos on the strip and a lot of other stuff. So I did a lot of photography. I moved out there to do wedding photography just for the experience, and then moved back home after a couple of years and started my own wedding photography company and bartend on the side because that's what I've done since I was in college. And so, you know, yeah.
You still doing that, or?
I mean, the brewery took over a lot of my time, and also taking a year off to go walk across America and saying no to every wedding that, you know, somebody brings up to you is like dropping off the face of the earth for a year, business wise, was a little, you know, and then spent a year getting this place up and running. So I didn't really have a lot of time, but like, and then COVID hit, so nobody was getting it. So.
And with Ground Effects, what's the backstory about how, you know, this came to be?
One of the owners was a regular of mine at a different bar that I worked at, and you know, I'd always talk to him about the beer and stuff. Me being in the brewing industry since I was so for the last 12 years or so, 2008, so God, like whatever, 13, 14 years. So yeah. I forget. See, I'm 40 now, so I can't remember shit. Things happened too long ago. Now I can't remember them.
How did it get the name Ground Effect?
Because all the other names are taken.
Yeah,
that's literally one of the reasons. Like we spent a year. I was on the road for a year, literally coming up with names every day. Like I had nothing to do sometimes on the side of the road except for think of names, and they're all taken. No, but it's also an aviation term. And everything comes from the ground, and there is no actual manufactured waste. It's gray water. So, and all the spent grain goes back to farms and feeds the chickens and cows and stuff. So like, it literally does not harm Mother Nature. We give back as well. We make dog biscuits from spent grain as well. Feed the doggos. Yeah.
What are your favorite beers from here?
All of them. In fact, I like a lot of
I do too.
Adult libations.
Yeah, I know with me.
He knew I say that, but it's true. I do.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, our sours are awesome. He makes them because I'm very particular and I love sour beer. I also love the dark matters, which is a little strong, but I mean, it's 10%, so you can't drink a bunch of them, but it's delicious. It's one of my favorite stouts. Yeah. Like out of
I'm a stout IPA guy.
Yeah.
So that definitely hits the spot. And one of the things about your sour that is not you know, that is a second language as far as beer is concerned.
It's a lot of people feel, yeah.
But I've had the ginger
I'll-
sour here. It's amazing. I mean, it's just like, you know,
It's almost like
it's like the
champagne.
ginger version of like hard lemonade or something. It's really
It's
good. It's
good.
like, you know, it's ginger ale, except it's got a lot more kick to it. That's for sure.
Except that it's actually beer. Yeah, I mean, the Pilsner is one of our biggest sellers. The IPAs are obviously big sellers. I love our IPAs. I'm a little IPA'd out because that's all anybody makes. So having his like sours and dark matters, slam dunkel or the dunkel there is a good, sorry, I'm like looking at the menu, but
Gotta jog your memory, you're 40.
no, I know, right? Or I've just had too many of them over the years. So, but yeah, I mean, I love all, and I don't just really. So I like all kinds of beers. But.
I know my friend Chris Lauderdale. He's big into like the German beers. He really likes the Dunkel beer.
Oh yeah, Dunkel's a good hit, especially for people. It's not something you see on a lot of people's menus. So
yeah, and Pilsner, it's just like, you know, it's definitely
it's the hardest beer to make.
Yeah, I've heard that IPAs are a lot easier to make than.
Yeah, you just dump a bunch of hops in to cover up whatever mistakes you have.
Yeah, and then
Not Tim's, but I've had some really bad IPAs where I'm like, you just dump a bunch of hops in here to fix your mistakes. But
yeah, I mean the Pilsner here is like really light, but it's just really tasty. Doesn't have like, you know, it's not watered down. It's definitely something I recommend. Now, do you have any other?
Watered down. It's not watered down. Just because Pilsner doesn't taste like IPA doesn't mean it's watered down. It's Pilsner. It's all. It's like walking around naked. Everyone can see your flaws.
I see you got a kombucha here too.
Yeah, we contract with Craft Tea. Get it? Like crafty, but Craft Tea. TEA in Worcester. So we do have a kombucha on draft, correct?
Wow, that's really cool. I haven't seen, you know, people kombucha. You know, some of the other breweries that's in New England. So
he collaborates with a couple other breweries and stuff. I know. So he's in a handful of places like that you could see the.
Yeah. Any you know, any breweries that y'all partner with or have that maybe have a collaboration in the works?
We have not done a collaboration. We've talked to like Lost Shoe and Flying Dreams about trying to get like one for all of us. Medusa, Tackle Box, you know, these things are great when you say them out loud, and then trying to get it all the people together to get it done is harder than it sounds or than it seems, I guess. But yeah, no, we have. So the only collaboration we've done is with Craft Tea.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Any new beers or in the works?
Let's see, we've got Quantum Hop coming back out, which hasn't been out for a while, like probably a year and a half. What else? Yeah, he has another different new IPA coming out. So the Quantum Hop is a West Coast IPA. I don't know. He hasn't really. I didn't even know there was another new IPA coming out. So he'll have to tell me about that when that happens. We have a raspberry sour coming out soon, and the ginger mule will be back.
Yes.
And we might have a seltzer, but I'm not. Don't hold me to that. But that might be coming.
I've learned on both a personal and a professional level to temper expectations.
Yeah, definitely.
And to underpromise and over.
Always ask for forgiveness, not permission. So that's one I live by.
Both.
I did not see that no trespassing sign. I'm sorry, my bad.
Oopsie. Yeah, and I heard you have a few other pups. How is Athena doing these days?
Athena and I just went for like a nice long walk with my sister and my niece, and then we went to a playground, and she's great. She's finally getting along and accepting the fact that other dogs live in the house. You know, that was a couple rough 4 years of her not doing that. Now she's finally getting the hang of it. She's a little mom, mom obsessed, like mom. I mean, we lived together in a tent for a year.
Yeah.
So for her, that's, you know, I'm her safety zone. And so she doesn't like share anyone, human, other dogs, cats. My niece is allowed, and that's about it. She likes my niece as much as like that's about it. Other humans, she doesn't like share with. Can't hug me. She's around.
What are your other pups like, and you know, how'd you come across?
They're small. She's like 52 pounds, and they're all like 12 to 15. And I've had them like my oldest is 15. And then his girlfriend, my other dog, Bella, is like 14. And then they have Pork Chop, who also you can find at the brewery here very often, who's about 11. So they're all kind of like couch potatoes now. They're like, oh, it's chilly. I'm like 100, leave me alone. While Athena's like, let's go all day, run. I mean, she was walking 20 miles a day. So to not have that type of lifestyle, especially in the winter, she'd never really experienced winter until she came here. So that was definitely a shock. She'd never seen snow.
What the hell is this?
It's cold, but it's still like dirt. Yeah, so she's still like digging in it like it was dirt. And she does well. Like she doesn't get too cold too fast. So.
This is a dog-friendly place, presumably.
Service dog, my dog friendly, and outside.
Yes.
Which it's been warm. I mean, hey, today, so we have Mondays off. But like, yeah, it's already getting warm out. So picnic tables, I gotta start setting back up and get the patio ready.
Yeah.
So y'all can bring your dogs down and sit outside because I think it's gonna be pretty good as far as weather goes forward.
Well, to quote Sophie B. Hawkins, it felt like springtime on a February morning.
And it is.
Yes, today is especially the case.
And last Saturday, Wednesday.
Yeah, although we had like some, snowy days and cold days in the interim.
It's New England.
Yeah.
Still winter too.
Jagged in New England. So
people that don't think climate change is real, it's been like we've been not having nearly as much snow as we used to.
Yeah, we've had milder winters last couple of years, I'm sure.
Since 2015.
2015.
That was the best winter. I love snow, so I noticed that like things are warming up because I don't get the snow and the blizzards the way that I like them, the way that I used to. So I'm just gonna have to keep moving north.
Do you like skiing, snowboard, or any other winter sports?
I used to, then I got old and hurt body parts. So yeah, no, not really though. I like cross country skiing. I like snowboarding. I haven't done snowboarding though since I've had too many injuries like in other areas because and now that I'm 40. But I just think snow is beautiful and it's fun to play in, and I don't even mind shoveling because I like the result of snow. So it's a give and a take.
It can be really pretty.
It's awesome, but I want like
but I love playing
3 feet at a time. Is what I want.
Yeah, get it all done at once.
No, then give me another foot a week later. Like 2015 was the greatest year. If I could have like what was it, the blizzard of 79?
78, yeah.
70. If I could have that, I wasn't alive. Okay, I'm not that old. But if I could have that every winter, I love it.
What are some of your other interests? Like when you
I don't
have
have
some spare
time.
Yeah, like if you had a little extra time to work with, what are some of the fun stuff you want?
So I mean, like other than hiking and like that kind of stuff. So I mean, I just did a trip. I just did the Penny Loop in New Hampshire, like in the White Mountains. So hiking, but I feel like that's kind of like, goes hand in hand with the walking across America thing. So obviously, yes, I do like walking around, climbing things and like getting into places that are beautiful and worth the view. Other photography, we already said. I'm so good at binge watching, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, all that. That is one of my best skills and interests. So, I always take recommendations on shows to watch. I've probably already seen it though. During COVID, I started, painting along with Bob Ross. I got decent at it.
Oh, good stuff.
Sold a couple paintings. What else? I don't know. I like puzzles. I like that cars keep driving by wondering if we're open. But it's my day off. You must be here when it's your day off. What do you mean you're not open on Labor Day? Because it's Labor Day. I'm not gonna labor on Labor Day, especially when we're always closed that day. What? People are crazy. I'm not gonna open on my day off just because you have a day off. See, that's why I watch Across America, that mentality. But yeah, what are my other interests?
What are some TV shows you like or recommend for our listeners?
So I do watch a lot of I watch everything. Like I don't care what language it's in. Like I watch those foreign British shows all the time. Yeah. Those are, you gotta have the captions on because that other language is. I'm just kidding. No, but I do.
Likes a lot of British shows.
I watch German, Dutch, like you name it. let's see, let's go genre. I mean, obviously Ozarks, Breaking Bad. Those are all great ones. I'm trying to think of ones that I've like recently seen. Dark is really good. It's German. It's like time travel, mind bending, you know. Michael J. Fox, Don't Sleep with Your Mom, but a little darker, if you will. But that same, like, you know, am I going to be erased from the photograph? But it's really, I have to rewatch it again just because I'm like, wait, did I get everything right? It's really good. That's a very good one. I can never think about it when I'm put on the spot. Like, what do you watch? What would you recommend?
I'm more into live sports, and I'm tempted to get ESPN Plus to watch Tom Brady's Man in the Arena. It's like
you're not Tom Brady'd out yet. Like, I was so happy to not have to hear his name as much when he went to Florida, but like now we just hear it, and he didn't even say to his 22 years.
Yeah, for his set of reasons, he didn't thank the Patriots after he retired from Tampa.
Yeah, he was there for 2 years.
Yeah,
22 or something with us.
Yeah, I know it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, but I guess he may have done it 2 years ago. I don't know. Can't speak for TFB.
He was talking about retiring from his entire career.
Yeah, I know.
He won 1 Super Bowl with the people that go to retire in Florida. Hey, at least he did what most people do in Florida. Go there to retire. Nailed it. Why'd you have to take Gronk with you?
Yeah, I'm a big Gronk fan.
Hell yeah. If you're not a Gronk fan, I don't trust you.
Yeah, I had the privilege of meeting him.
I'm a Brady fan.
Yes.
We'll talk about that later. I'm a huge Brady fan. He is the greatest of all time.
Yes.
100%. I don't like that he did not, though, in his retirement note, say anything about the Patriots. I think that was a little rude. And I know that we take our personalities here in Massachusetts and our sports a little serious, but I was like, yeah, I felt a little snubbed. Just saying. I think everyone did. I don't care as much as everyone else.
No, I didn't.
Everybody kept talking about it, and I was like, that's kind of fucked up. But whatever. He is undeniably not human. He's definitely an alien, like Da Vinci.
Yeah, I mean.
Definitely like Da Vinci.
Yeah, you're pointing out with that.
Too. Yep.
It was fun. Yeah.
I think Giselle's an alien too. I mean, nobody's like that smart and pretty.
Yeah, they found each other. Yeah. I know with Gronk, for me, it was fun meeting him a few years ago.
How tall is he?
He's like 6'4", 6'5", I believe. Okay. And like my father had a pic. Yeah, I saw a picture of you and him. It's like, that's really tall, James.
He's a big man.
Yeah, I just I had always admired Gronk throughout his career.
Oh, he's such a nice guy.
I was
loves his mom.
Yeah, loves
such
his
a mama's boy. Yeah, absolutely.
I went to a preseason game, my friend Sean Wood, and it was his rookie year, and he catches a ball at the 5-yard line, and a defender, James Laurinaitis of the St. Louis Rams, puts his arms around his ankle. Gronk pulls Laurinaitis the rest of the 5 yards, collapses right on the goal line, and scores a touchdown. I knew right then and there he would be great.
Oh yeah.
And then he just had such a splendid career. It was just a treat to watch the guy. And then
he's a joy to watch just in interviews and everything.
Yeah, all the funny.
He's a normal
fiesta.
Normal, really amazing athlete, but normal dude. Like as far as like,
I mean, he's fixated on the number 69 for his set of reasons. And it's
a good year.
He just the way he created mismatches, the way he just bowled over people.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, just he's just a big tight end. He's a great blocker. He's a great receiver. He's bigger than the linebackers in the secondary. He can. That's why he had so much success.
If these were soccer terms, I would understand.
You into soccer?
Well, I played soccer mostly.
Neat.
But no, I mean, I watch football because it's on all the time, and I watch it at home if it's the Patriots. I do not watch other teams play. I am a New England fan, and that is it. I mean, obviously, I watch Super Bowl, whoever's in it. But I don't know. I kind of got over it during COVID too, because it was like, what do you call it? It was a year that didn't really count because like half the teams couldn't play.
Yeah, just you had.
And I didn't. Yeah.
Nobody in the stands. Do you like other sports like hockey or?
I love hockey, Bruins all day. Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm dating Marshawn. He just doesn't know. My little ball of hate.
Yeah,
he starts the fights and lets everyone else end them.
Yeah. He's a great guy to have on your team, and
Lick your face and
horrible
everything.
to be an opponent.
That's everyone says. Everyone's like, love having him on my team, would hate playing against him.
Yeah, that's what we part ways. I mean, I grew up in New York. I'm a big
Marshall,
Ranger
just give me-
fan. You know, cousin of blessed memory told me romantic tales of the blue seats, and eventually flipped me, and I've been a Ranger fan ever since.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We all have our
And
problems.
for soccer, my cousin Shane, he'd follow Liverpool all over the place, and I got to see him at Fenway a few years ago.
Yeah.
Become a big fan of theirs too.
Newcastle,
Yeah, it's
Manchester, everyone knows Manchester.
so like how did the business navigate its way through COVID? Like
We
how did
sold beer to go. And we distributed a little bit more, but mostly just beer to go. I mean, we had to lay everyone off except for me and Tim, the brewer, and we took pay cuts, and I mean, we had to because we were working less hours too.
Yeah. And
just can everything and try and sell it. Yep. So it paid the rent.
And I know like you started partnering with some food trucks.
Well, we've always had food trucks, but then they made the rule that you had to eat. If you were gonna go out in general, you had to eat a meal. And so we like begged Kith and Kin to be open for us so that we could actually open when we could serve draft again. And so they worked with us to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed. I've become a big fan of Texas Smoke Shack.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's here a lot now. They were like bulldozing the parking lot that he was in the majority of the time. And so he finally called me up and I was like, hey, we've been trying to work on this relationship. I was like, come on down. So he's been here a lot more recently, the last couple months. His food is amazing. Everyone loves it. Everyone knows.
Oh yeah.
It's so good.
Literally, I think the two of them literally came up from Texas.
Oh yeah, they're originally from Texas.
Yeah, and they brought their best food with them.
Oh yeah, 100%. The brisket's so good.
Oh yeah, I had it yesterday. Yeah, I was just like, I came here as I was fixing for the food, and then fixing for the beer,
and to con me to do this. No,
well, you create a lot of synergies, that's for sure.
Thank you.
And like what's Kith and Kin like as far as
it's all farm to table food. They also have my niece is out there doing this on the window.
Yeah.
They're right down the street, maybe a mile away. And it's all farm to table food. It's delicious. Joe Boudreau is the head chef there. He's amazing. Cocktails are great. The brunch is outstanding. I have their eggs. They're like waffles and pancakes there all the time. So I recommend it.
How can people get a hold of you and of Ground Effect?
Ground Effect, our email is groundeffectbrewing@gmail.com. Go to the website, it's all there, groundeffect.com, groundeffectbrewing.com. My Instagram is lmonroe20. So LMONROE 20. Facebook, just Lindsay Monroe, LINDSAY MONROE. And yeah, I don't get my phone number out.
Yeah, don't blame me.
Sorry.
It's not advised as post.
Yes.
So most of all, thank you so much for coming on the Jimmy Day.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. Thanks for coming here.
Yeah, and I've been exploring the concept of podcasting for a few years, and definitely
I had my own podcast too. So Lindsay Walks. Lindsay Walks is a podcast. Lindsay LINDSAY Walks. And that's still out there too on the podcast.
It's on Spotify, iTunes. Yeah, check out Lindsay Walks as well. You'll get a lot of inspiration.
It was while I was actually like walking.
Yeah.
Like some days I'm actually walking, like getting splashed by puddles and stuff.
An in-depth walk of the walk across the United States. A sweet pup named Athena, and some really cool Cynthiana wine.
Oh, I drink a lot of wine.
Yeah. Yeah, makes two of us. Might have Ground Effect wine in a few years.
Well, something. I always have wine, no matter who makes it. I always have wine. Not in February though.
Oh, but of course, you're more red or a white?
Red only.
Same here. Yeah, I like the Portuguese blends around here. And
I'm Italian. I go all.
Yeah, I do like.
I like cabs. I like my California cabs. And my Oregon. Oregon makes great red wine.
Oh yes.
Sorry, my niece. I keep saying she's like, "What are you talking about?" What are they talking
I think she's giving us a subtle signal to wind things
say,
up.
say, Lindsay, you're
And
talking too much.
I'll take the hint to do so. So most of all, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
This is a pleasure. I probably talk too much like usual, but what are you gonna do?
That's why I brought you on. No worries.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Dave.
much for coming on the Jimmy
Thank
Day
you
Telling show.
to the 4 people that listen to this.
We're just getting started.
That was what I said, like the